Good evening and welcome to another episode of Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. Tonight's sponsor of the show is Dr. Joseph DeTore with his book Secrets in Depth. It's definitely a book you want to get your hands on, filled with rich and detailed information on this gripping military factual thriller that shows the depths of darkness acquired after 3 decades of service. Commander Kimiza, who was once a young, idealistic sailor, must do whatever it takes to seek and protect his country. Get your copy today on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. As well as we still have the Summer of Fun raffle. Definitely, let's help our veterans. We have 28 dying by suicide per day, and Camaraderie Rescue Mission has life-sustaining programs that are out there to help with our veterans with their PTSD and suicide. So go to www.tcrmi.org/shop to get your ticket today. With that, I am extremely excited to bring to the stage Miss Judith. This lady is absolutely insanely fun. I love it every time we get together. And Judith, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love being here, Dorothy Ann. And of course, anytime I can sit down and talk with you and laugh, hey, it's a great day. How are you doing?
Yes. That's right. I mean, I was on your podcast, and I think your VA is going to kill us because she probably has to print a lot out because we were laughing so much. But oh well.
Oh well. That's the way it goes. Yeah.
That is true. So tell our viewing audience here a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I am a publishing servicing agency. That means that I basically help authors to create that beautiful book of theirs and give them the experts who can help them to get that work done. I have worked with authors now for 3 years through Carnelian Moon. We are now in our 4th year of business. And before that, I was a freelance author, a freelance writer. I wrote my own book. I've had it published. I have published with traditional publishers. I've pretty well gone the gamut of what the publishing world is all about, trying to experience everything that I can. And I've learned a lot, but I've also learned how to make an author's journey one that they will always cherish and remember and enjoy. So that is the big key of it. Have fun with what you're doing, and everything else is going to fall into place.
Absolutely. Just want to go to the comments for a quick minute. We have our mutual friend Janet here with us.
Hi, Janet. Hi, Susan.
Suzanne.
Our editor. She is amazing. Beautiful to have you here.
Yes, ladies. I mean, as soon as Suzanne saw that come up, she was just like pouncing on that. I gotta be there. So that shows a lot.
Oh, she is fantastic. I worked with her on Janet's book, actually.
Janet's book?
Janet's book. Yes, you've got a copy of it there. See, you're better at this than I am.
Well, it sits on my desk because I try and read one chapter at least a week. Awesome. I was wanting to do one a day, but I just really, I was kidding myself when I did that, considering everything we're up to do here. And Tony, welcome.
Tony. Hi, Tony.
So I did read one. I think I read her chapter, and then I was going to go back, but yeah, I kind of like read. I'm weird. I like reading from beginning to end. I'm just really weird that way. But
that's okay. It's one of those things. It's hi, Greg.
Hi, Greg. And then, oh my! According to the time you read me, God bless you abundantly. Oh wow. Cool. Thank you, Arthur, for being here.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Janet's book is great. Yes, it is. Yes. Susan edited Janet's book, and wow, it's such a fantastic grasp of being able to get through a book quickly. She's actually working with an author with us right now, and she's just so good at what she does. I'm so grateful that Janet connected us together, because I get to work with Susan on a number of books. So, yeah, pretty exciting.
That's awesome. And Janet connected us. So, Janet's just the connecting
Exactly.
machine.
And Janet, the connector. Janet's always connecting people, and she's getting people, involved, and just fantastic. You always surround yourself with amazing individuals, and they just show up, and it's beautiful. Love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell us more. You said a full service. So when somebody comes to you, explain the process. Because I don't, my mom, I'm trying to get my head wrapped. I know what I went through, but I want to know if that's traditional with every agency, or how does yours work?
Well, at Carnelian Moon, what I usually do is I meet with the author first. I find out what their vision is for their book, how long they've been on their journey. Some authors have only been writing for a short period of time, or are just looking at an idea that they can get out to the world. Other authors have actually had their book written for over 30 years, and they just sort of tucked it away and didn't do anything with it. And so I like to find out where they are on their journey, so that I can then tailor their journey to them, so that it fulfills everything that they are expecting it to fulfill. I also check in with them to see what kind of experts they have in their circle already. Perhaps they have an editor already, perhaps an illustrator if that is what they require, or a graphics designer for their cover. If they have experts in their area already, and they want to use those individuals, they're comfortable working with them. For example, Janet was comfortable working with Susan. So that was definitely going to be something that we wanted to encourage. And so when an author has certain individuals that they want to work with and they're comfortable with them, we like to try to bring them on if at all possible. We also have a full complement of team members here, including editing, layout, illustrating, graphics design, cover design, book launching, you name it. We have the experts available for any of the authors who are in any different area of their journey, so that they can comfortably step in. And if all they want to do is worry about writing the manuscript and then handing it over to us, and then us doing the rest of the work for them with their guidance and their input, of course, then we can do that. If they want to be involved more, then we can absolutely do that as well. So it's sort of a really tailored journey for each author. Every author is different, and the journey is different for each author. But we do have our processes that we follow to go through, which gives that, the aligned journey through the authoring experience, so that we're not getting lost along the way. Right. But we try to give them as much freedom as we can, and as much input and involvement in their work. Nothing is more disappointing than when, and I've been there a few times, when an author has an idea and a vision for their book, and a publisher says to them, I think this is better. Yes, your idea is great, but I think my idea is better. Mm-hmm. And I've had that happen to me, and it doesn't feel good to know that the vision that you have for your own book is not really being seen or heard. And so that's sort of one of the lessons that I learned through my experiences that I brought into Carnelian Moon, to make sure that, we are listening to the authors, and that they are receiving the opportunity to say what it is they would like to say, and the input they would like to give with their book as well.
Right. Yeah. That is awesome. Ooh, love it. And what made you decide to start writing?
When did I decide to start writing?
When and why? Why did you decide that was something that you wanted to do?
Well, I have always wanted to write. I've always been a writer. My writing experience, the biggest thing for me, I think, that made me realize this is what I want to do, was when I was in grade school. My brother, of all people, came up to me and said, I have an English assignment due. Can you write me a short story? And of course, the word write and short story, that just fit in with me perfectly. So I wrote a short story. He took it into his teacher. His teacher knew right away, of course, that it wasn't his work, but she did something really incredible that stuck with me and has actually sort of fashioned my journey into authorhood and into publishing. And she gave him my story and told him to bring it back to me and to get me to autograph it, because she wanted to have one of the earliest works of mine when I become a best-selling author. And so I did that. I signed this little story as though I was an amazing author, and my brother took it back to her. I don't know who the teacher was. I don't know her name. I don't even know the grade she was in, but her words stuck with me, and I've carried them with me ever since. And it's actually her words that sort of cajoled me into writing my first book and getting it out there. And I wanted to dedicate it to her because what she had said to me was so mind-blowing, for one, but so valuable to me. And it's something I've always carried with me. So anytime that I'm involved in anything written oriented, I always think of her. And I always wish I knew her name to address her directly, but I don't. And hopefully she does remember this kid who wrote a story about a guy set adrift on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Maybe that rings a bell with somebody out there now. I don't know, but it was really a catalyst for me. So that's sort of the carrot on the stick, if you will, that I always follow.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm just going, there is so many comments here. It's like some of them, they're just talking in between. Susan says, Janet, love working with Judith.
Thank you.
Oh, Greg had said that he likes Susan's name. I'm just going. She said, Janet said that you saw her vision and helped her create it. Mm-hmm. And that is so important. So the rest are just talking to themselves. I'll let them be in the comments. So that is truly impactful. As somebody who, it is out there, like somebody who is a mentor or a teacher or something like, or coach or something like that. We truly do have a way of molding and shaping different people by our words, right? And we should all be, cognizant of how we speak and how we pour life into other people instead of, just the bad stuff. Everybody needs to have the good stuff, right? And so that is just so awesome that you had somebody pour into your life at such a young age. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome.
Absolutely, yes. And I totally agree with that, because our words do matter. And someone can say something to you that they didn't really even realize was going to be hurtful or impactful. And yet it impacted you either positively or negatively. And it's always something to be very, very cognizant of, as you said.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And Dr. Alex in the house from Ohio, welcome. Thanks for joining us. That is absolutely, yes. And so what made you decide to transition from writing to publishing?
Well, I had a couple of experiences with publishers that were not what I had expected. And so the final one that I had, it was, they were publishing my book, but they didn't do any of the layout work. They didn't make it pretty. And so I ended up with about 100 copies of a book that were basically not usable. I wasn't able to sell them. I wasn't able to give them away. But I was able to use them as a lesson for looking at them and saying, would I have given a client that kind of work? And so what I decided at that point was to try to do it myself. The book was important to me, and it had 5 other authors in it. So I was committed to these authors to make sure that they were not going to be getting a book that they could not sell. Yet all of them were so amazing, and they said, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No, we have to worry about it. And so I immersed myself into learning all I could about how do I publish my own book. And from there, I did all of these trial and errors. The book came together. And I then had people contacting me and saying, I have a book that I want to do. Would you think that you would want to publish it? And that's sort of how Carnelian Moon began to move into the actual publishing of books for others other than just myself. And so I had invited somebody to be a partner with me on that book and are on that on the publishing side of things. And together we created Carnelian Moon, and it was a going concern for the last 3 years. And I just took over full ownership of it in May of this year. And it has been a beautiful ride so far. It has expanded. I've increased our team. And yeah, it just sort of was something I fell into. If you hear people, say, how did you get in that business? Well, I just fell into it. I basically just fell into it. I wanted to be able to do something, and I knew that I could do it just as well, if not better, than what I had received as far as the other publisher went. So that's how I started with this.
That's usually how things happen, right? Like you go after your passions, and then your passions turn into your,
exactly.
And then it's not work.
Exactly.
So, and
exactly.
that's the best part about this. That's
Yeah.
why I love doing this, and that's why I love showcasing other people, because I love this. Love meeting new people such as yourself that are so amazing and that really want to make a difference in the world, and you're right. Like there's so many different publishers out there that they take your money and then leave and with a product that is half-ass. And so kudos to you for going against that and saying, listen, no, like, how would I want to be treated? How would I want my piece of work to be out there? Right. And so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, if you're doing what you're passionate about and it isn't work, you're showing your clients that you don't just like what you're doing, but you like doing it because you're working with them and with their books or their ideas and whatever it might be. So it's whenever I need an energy fix, I always meet with an author and their ideas and what they have going on and what they would like to do in their world always energizes me. And just so it is a bit selfish of me because I do get that energy from others, and I do love to see others really following their dreams and doing what they are meant to do in life. And I truly believe if you have a seed that says write a book, then you are meant to write that book. And so I think it's just an honor to be able to be on the journey with them, and authors who invite me to be on that journey with them. It's just amazing. I enjoy it every second.
I've always said we all have a story, and we are all connected to different people. So by each one of us sharing our story, we connect with more. Mm-hmm. And I originally started both shows as to say, okay, if I can connect to one person and make a difference for one person per show, then I've done it, right? And so my business partner says, no, we're impacting, we're after the millions. I'm like, okay.
I love it.
Let's we're both go big or go home. But,
yeah, exactly.
What can I say? That's just who we are. We're powerhouse women that just will not take any backing down. So I guess that's good, right?
Exactly.
Tony says she's not surprised when companies let their clients down. Maybe she shouldn't be. And Susan says, I'm in awe of anyone who actually does write a book. Judith, lots of folks want to, so if you actually do it.
That's true. And that monkey mind always comes into play. Oh, well, who are you to write a book? What are you going to know? And like, who's going to want to read your stuff? And so that, I think, is one of the reasons that I think my other background of being a subconscious behaviorist comes in to a valuable play, because I get to also then help people with their limiting beliefs and those ideas that they aren't somebody who should be writing a book. I get to help them see that, no, they definitely are someone. If they had the idea, there's a reason why they had that idea, and they should go forward with it. So, and try to make it as fun as possible. So,
Now, I have heard, though, with the pandemic that there has been more books pumped out in the last 2 years than ever before. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. Well, people had more time, so what are you going to do, right? We couldn't leave the house, and we couldn't do anything like that at one point. So,
Exactly, exactly. And, 2021 was our biggest year. It was the busiest year. We had more authors coming across the threshold and saying, here, I want to publish a book. So it was a pretty phenomenal time. But there's still so many authors out there now that have that interest, and it just ends up that sometimes it becomes so overwhelming for them because they feel there's so much involved in it. And so that's sort of where agencies such as Carnelian Moon come into play, where we can actually support the author and make that journey much more blissful than if they're even doing it on their own and trying to gather all the little pieces on their own as well. So
yeah. And Susan said her business exploded as well. So that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Totally. Keep putting your books out there, people. The
yeah,
world needs to hear them. That's
absolutely.
basically, So what would you say are 3 things that you've had to overcome within yourself or within your business to get to where you're at today?
Probably the one thing that I would say for myself personally is, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people deal with it, and it's imposter syndrome. Like, oh, yeah, okay, you're not all that. Why do you think you can do this and other people can't? So I had some periods as a matter of fact, when I first started, I didn't have any thoughts of that at all because I was focused on getting the book out there for my authors. But when it comes to me and doing it because I want to move it forward, that's where my imposter syndrome showed up. So I know how to work with that. I know how to deal with that. I just had to do some work on myself, which I did, and we're all good now. The other challenges that I have found is when an author comes to us and they know that they have an amazing, amazing book idea. They even may go all the way to the end of that book idea and get it, that it is out there and everything is going to be beautiful. But we get to go to distribution and they freeze. And it's like, okay, I don't think I'm ready to have my work out there. I don't think I'm ready for people to read what I have written. And it is an interesting journey of their being able to grow past that. And when they do, the amount of confidence that shows up, and there is absolutely no stopping them once they get over that hurdle. Then we've had like one author, a single author, who wasn't able to let go of their book. And it was a beautiful book. A lot of work had gone into it. They had polished it to a high shine, and unfortunately, they just could not let it go. And they did eventually. They actually did get it out there, which is fantastic, and I'm so excited for them. But they were literally fearful of letting the book go. And so I think that's the main challenge that I see a fair bit, is people holding on to their work and holding on to it so tightly that the rest of the world doesn't get to know that it's out there. And there's this brilliant, beautiful book that somebody has worked diligently and long, long hours on, and they aren't able to release it. So anytime that I can help change someone's mindset around that, around the limiting beliefs that there are, I do something called Mindscaping, which is phenomenal for authors, especially who are stuck in a way that they don't think they can let go of their work. So I work with them in this modality, and the transformation that takes place usually not only affects them as an author, but it affects them in their personal life, their relationships, their business if they have one. So it gives me that bit of hope that authors, more and more of them are going to be able to have that opportunity to release their work and do so a little less, with a little less trepidation. So other than that, it's just, it's a lot of fun. There is a lot of work. There is self-doubt that shows up. But when you know that you have an idea that is meant to be out in the world, that makes all the difference. And sticking with your idea, believing in who you are and believing in why you had that vision to begin with, is so important to being able to move it forward and sharing it with the world the way that it's meant to be shared.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. You're right. I mean, I remember when I first wrote mine, I had it done in no time. And then I like really getting it to the next step, I was like dodging my footsteps, and it's like, and then once the editing was done, and then it's just like, okay, the layout's done, and then it's just like, okay, it's done. I'm like, now what? Right. Now what? And that's back when, I didn't know how to promote back then. I'm like, I had no idea. So I faked it. Well, not faked it. Like I just did whatever that was expected at that time, I guess. But, I made several mistakes along the way. And that's how you learn, right?
Exactly. So, those are things now that you'd be able to just do with your eyes closed. And of course, you do book launches now. So obviously you brought a lot of your beautiful learnings into that aspect, and you give so much value with that.
Well, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Because it's just one of those things where you learn trial and error, right? Like how many times was before the light bulb was invented, right? Like how many tries and how many shots does it take before I forget how many shots. One of the famous basketball, there's a quote, one of the famous basketball players before he actually I forget. I shouldn't even brought that up. Anyways.
Sorry, I can't help you.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I went off on a rabbit trail, I guess. My mind continuously goes. I think I really know the quotes in my head, and then I go to speak it, and then it doesn't come out right. So I should just not even bother. But that's just who I am. I'm not afraid to open my mouth, I guess. I'll just insert my foot no matter what. So that's just who I am.
Oh, my goodness.
I forget what I said on your podcast that made us both laugh, but I can't even think of it.
I don't know if you want to repeat that here though, but that had something to do with about the swiping and the pictures.
I don't remember.
Not ringing a bell.
It's not ringing a bell. All I know is we laughed so hard.
Okay, so dating and pictures. Dating pictures.
Oh, yes. Yes. No, we don't want to get people that going on your episode, because this is all about you. No, we don't want that. We don't want that to be the last thing they think of when they leave this. I mean, seriously.
Oh, you never know.
Oh, anyways, where is the best place that you want people to reach you at, Judith?
Well, they can always go to our website, which is carnelianmoonpublishing.com.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I remember what we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm laughing so hard, because I'm remembering our previous conversation. That's why I'm laughing. So yes, CarnelianMoonPublishing.com. Definitely, you want to get a hold of Judith for all your publishing needs. This lady is absolutely amazing. I mean, the energy that you carry, you give a crap about your customers and clients for sure. I mean, it oozes from the first moment I met you till now. I mean, you just ooze customer service and being there for your clients and for your, just even in networking and things like that. So absolutely amazing lady that you want to get to know. Love this lady to death, and she's definitely for you in your corner. So if you have a book from the beginning to end or somewhere in the middle, get a hold of Judith, and she will definitely get your labor of love out there the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I just want to thank our guests for joining us in the comments. And I really want to thank Judith for being on the show today. It's an absolute pleasure to know you. And thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've loved every minute of it.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Dorothy Ann.
You're welcome. And with that, folks, stay unstoppable in all you do. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. Bye for now.